this is Dr. Liz Cox with California Department of Food and Agriculture's Animal Care Program. And this webinar is to explain how egg producers are to comply with California Prop 12 and animal confinement regulations. This is an outline of the presentation. I'm going to go through a little bit of background on Prop 12 and the Animal Care Program, and then go through the egg producer requirements for how they are to keep their egg-laying hens and how they go through the process of becoming certified, including the shipping document marking requirement, and then also touch on if an egg producer might also fall under the definition of being an egg distributor, and then finally a review of where additional information can be found on the Animal Care Program website. So the Animal Care Program is here within California Department of Food and Agriculture's Animal Health and Food Safety Services Division, and the program was formed after the passing of Proposition 12 in 2018. And the Animal Care Program implements Prop 12, which is in California Health and Safety Code. This is the Prop 12 law. And then we also implement the animal confinement regulations, which are in the California Code of Regulations. Within CDFA, there is another program that is a food safety program which regulates shell eggs that are sold here in California. And so I just wanted to explain and touch on this program and explain a little bit how it is different from Prop 12 and the Animal Care Program for egg producers and egg stakeholders to understand that there are two different programs here within CDFA. So what many people know, the shell egg food safety program, is they think about it as the CEFS program, or they can see on shell egg cartons the statement CA CEFS compliant. And so this is, again, a food safety program that's run through the Meat, Poultry, and Egg Safety branch within our Animal Health and Food Safety Services Division. And this program only applies to shell eggs. It does require on-site inspections for the purpose of checking with compliance with the requirements, but this is a risk-based on-site inspection. The CEFS program does have specific requirements for markings on the shell egg cartons and also on the shipping documents that accompany the shell eggs transported into and within California, and also egg handler registration that is managed through this program that manages the CEFS compliance. And I have their email address up here on the page. So if you do have questions related to egg handler registration or compliance with California CEFS, then that's the email to inquire. As opposed to Prop 12 and the animal care compliance, which is listed on the left there, this is a set of law and regulations that relates to how the hens are kept, whether the hens are in California or outside of California when the eggs are going to be sold in California. And it applies to, as defined in our regulations, shell eggs and liquid eggs. And it requires the certification of egg producers, which requires an on-site inspection every 12 months. There's no specific labeling requirement under Prop 12 for the cartons of eggs or packages of liquid eggs, but there is a requirement for a specific statement that is on the BOLs accompanying the shell eggs or liquid eggs related to Prop 12 compliance, which is the Egg CA Prop 12 compliant statement. And there's also a registration component of the Animal Care Program, and this is an egg distributor registration. So again, just to clarify, there are two different programs. One's related to food safety for the CEFS program, and the other one is related to animal welfare, and that's the Animal Care Program. So this slide shows the regulatory framework for the animal care program. And this is a screenshot of one of our guidance documents from our website that describes the regulatory framework specific to eggs. And you can see here it starts at the top with the egg producer. Egg producers are required to be third-party certified. And then looking through the flow of eggs in the supply chain, we recognize that we do bring eggs in from outside of California. So some of them might be passing through our California agricultural border protection stations where paperwork with those shell eggs and liquid eggs will be inspected. And then down the orange box, registered egg distributors. So egg distributors as defined in the regulations are registered with CDFA and also certified as compliant. And to know if you're an egg distributor, it's those that are distributing and selling to end users as defined in our regulations and listed there on the slide. So as of January 1st, 2024, all California egg producers were required to be third-party certified and hold the valid certificate of compliance. And then also as of January 1st, 2024, shell eggs and liquid eggs sold in California are required to be from egg producers that have a valid certificate of compliance. And then also egg distributors, those that distribute and sell shell eggs and liquid eggs to end users here in California. They're also required to be third-party certified when they either renew, they'll need to demonstrate that when they renew their distributor registration or if they're applying for a new distributor registration. So who is an egg producer in the context of Prop 12 and the animal confinement regulations? An egg producer means a person engaged in the business of producing eggs from domesticated chickens, turkeys, ducks, geese, or guinea fowl that will be used as shell or liquid eggs for human food. And so as far as thinking about who this certification applies to, that's described in this presentation. Again, it's for an egg producer. So it's the location where the egg-laying hens are being kept. And I think it's important to note here as far as the definition of an egg-laying hen, of course, we think of chickens, but in the context of Prop 12 and animal confinement regulations, an egg-laying hen means female domesticated chicken, turkey, duck, goose, or guinea fowl kept for the purposes of egg production. And again, this is egg production where those eggs are going to be used for human food as shell eggs or liquid eggs. So if you fall under the definition of being an egg producer, then you need to keep your hens according to the confinement standards set in Prop 12 and animal confinement regulations. So the enclosure has to allow the hens to lie down, stand up, fully extend their limbs, and turn around freely. And it's important to note that an enclosure, this means the cage, crate, or other construction that's used to confine the egg-laying hen. So as far as understanding how to apply the confinement requirements, it's going to be whatever the specific enclosure is, whether that's a barn, whether that's a pasture, whether that's a mobile coop. It's whatever that specific, perimeter is for that hen that you're keeping or the group of hens, and these standards have to apply to that enclosure. So the enclosure needs to be a cage-free housing system that can be indoor, outdoor. It's a controlled environment within which the hens are free to roam unrestricted. It also allows employees to provide care while standing within the hen's usable floor space. It provides the minimum amount of required usable floor space per hen, which I'll go over on another slide. And it also provides enrichments, including scratch areas, perches, nest boxes, and dust bathing areas within the enclosure. Right, so the usable floor space requirement. And again, you can see there's a guidance document listed at the bottom there. This is pulled, this is also in a guidance document that's posted on our website specific to enclosure requirements. So single level all floor systems that are bedded with litter, they require 1.5 square feet of usable floor space per hen. If it's a partially slatted system in which the hens have access to elevated flat platforms with either the manure belt underneath or a manure pit underneath, then those systems need at least 1 square foot of usable floor space per hen. And then in the aviary systems, so a multi-tiered aviary in which the hens have access to multiple elevated flat platforms, then those systems require a minimum of 1 square foot of usable floor space per hen. So in calculating the usable floor space, we do this by dividing the total square footage of floor space provided to the hens in an individual enclosure by the number of hens in that individual enclosure. And many times the number of hens in the individual enclosure, that's going to be determined based on placement records. The usable floor space includes ground space for enclosures that are outdoor pens or pastures, accessible at all times by the hens confined in the enclosure. And it's going to include ground space and elevated flat platforms upon which hens can roost, but does not include any perches or ramps. So again, the perches and ramps are not included in the calculation of usable floor space. So there are a few enrichments that are required to be within each of the enclosures. First one is nest boxes. So enclosure must have nest boxes, which means a designated area for the hens to lay eggs. Nest boxes can be included in the usable floor space calculation of an enclosure when the hens have continual access to the nest boxes. If the nest boxes have a kickout feature, and that kickout feature is enabled, then the usable floor space of the enclosure will not include the nest box space. Enclosures are also required to have a scratch area. This means a portion of the usable floor space that's solid, such as solid wood, cement, plastic, or dirt. The scratch area can be bedded with litter, but it's not a requirement to have it be bedded with litter. And the purpose of the scratch area allows the hens to display the natural behavior of foraging, scratching in the dirt for nail maintenance, and relief from slatted floors for resting. The enclosure is also required to have a dust bathing area, and this is an area within the enclosure that allows the hens to perform the behavior of dust bathing. And dust bathing is when a hen crouches close to the ground and vigorously wriggling their bodies and flapping their wings to move a dry substrate from the ground over their back and feathers. And the other guidance listed on this slide is pulled from our chicken egg enclosure guidance document, which is posted on our website. So in regards to compliance with this requirement, it's important to note that each enclosure must have an area for dust bathing and that there's no specific space measurement requirement for that dust bathing area. Each enclosure must also have perches, and a perch is going to be a dedicated horizontal elevated surface above the ground that allows the hen to express the natural behavior of roosting. There's no specific length of perches per hen required, and any perches within the enclosure, that space will not be included in the calculation of usable floor space. There are exceptions to the confinement standards. This is during rodeo exhibitions, state or county fair exhibitions, 4-H programs, and similar type youth programs, during transportation and slaughter, during examination, testing, individual treatment, or operation for veterinary purposes, and during temporary periods for animal husbandry purposes for no more than 6 hours in any 24-hour period and no more than 24 hours total in any 30-day period. So it's important to note these exceptions as far as thinking about when an egg producer is keeping their egg-laying hens, and that the hens need to be kept according to the minimum confinement standards unless they fall under one of these exceptions. So egg producers, according to the definition in animal confinement regulations, they are required to be certified. This is a third-party certification that is performed by one of the certifying agents. The certification does require an on-site inspection, and during that on-site inspection, the certifying agent will verify that the egg-laying hens are kept according to the Prop 12 standards, that all required records are maintained, and if the egg producer is outside of California and operating as a split operation, that egg producer is maintaining segregation of compliant and non-compliant hens and their eggs. During the on-site inspection, the egg producer must allow access to all covered animals and records by the certifying agent, and this certification is renewed annually with an on-site inspection. And there I reference another guidance document that's on our website. It's an egg producer on-site inspection for the purposes of certification guidance document. So who is a certifying agent? As I mentioned, only a certifying agent can perform this third-party certification, and this is going to be either CDFA or a private company that has been accredited by CDFA to perform the certification activities, or another government entity that CDFA has recognized that can provide functionally equivalent certification services to the requirements listed in animal confinement regulations. So again, it's three different organizations that could do this: CDFA, a private company that's been accredited, or a recognized government entity. At the time of making this video, CDFA has not recognized any other government entities to perform certification services, but it could be an option in the future. And there's a link to a list of our certifying agents that can provide the services. So the role of a certifying agent, they're going to handle the entire certification process. So the application for certification will go to the certifying agent who the egg producer has chosen to work with. That certifying agent will also perform the on-site inspection, handle any non-compliances, correction of non-compliances, and make the final certification decision. And then that certifying agent will also issue the certificate of compliance to operations where they've granted certification. And any transaction for the services, that will be between the certifying agent and the operation. So whoever, again, the egg producer has chosen to work with. So each certifying agent will have their own application for certification, and the egg producer will fill out the application specific to that certifying agent, and the egg producer can choose to switch certifying agents if they want. Perhaps the next year they want to work with a different certifying agent. That's allowed to happen. It's at the discretion of the egg producer, but when they apply for certification, switching certifying agents, then the new certifying agent will treat the application as a new certification. As I mentioned, certification requires an on-site inspection. And so this will be scheduled together with the egg producer and the certifying agent that they are working with to ensure that The timing is appropriate for everyone's schedule, and also so that any biosecurity protocols can be appropriately followed for this scheduled on-site inspection. The purpose of the on-site inspection is for the certifying agent to verify compliance that the egg producer is keeping egg-laying hens according to the standards, that the egg producer is maintaining all of the required records. And again, if it's an egg producer located outside of California and they're operating as a split operation, then the on-site inspection will verify that there is segregation of compliant and non-compliant hens and their eggs. And a Prop 12 on-site inspection can be combined with other on-site inspections. So if an egg producer is also doing additional label claim programs or additional certification programs that require an on-site inspection, and the certifying agent they have chosen to work with also does those additional types of certifications, then the one on-site inspection can have multiple certifications combined in the one visit. So this is a list of the record-keeping requirements for an egg producer to be certified. This is pulled from the egg producer on-site inspection guidance document that is on our website. And it lists the different records that will need to be maintained by an egg producer. And the record-keeping retention time is 2 years beyond creation of these different types of records. There is also a shipping document marking requirement under animal confinement regulations, and we do see this sometimes apply specific to egg producers, especially shell egg producers, as far as when their eggs are leaving the farm. So this shipping document marking requirement is different from the CASEF's compliant shipping document marking. So for compliance with animal confinement regulations in Prop 12, any shell eggs and liquid eggs that are transported into or within California, the documents accompanying those shipments of shell eggs and liquid eggs are required to have the statement egg CA Prop 12 compliant when they are the Prop 12 compliant eggs. And so where we see this apply to egg producers is egg producers within California when eggs leave their farm either to go to be sold or go to be processed, then the accompanying shipping documents would need to have egg CA Prop 12 compliant. Or if it's an out-of-state egg producer, when eggs leave their out-of-state farm and then are directly moving into California, either as nest run eggs or as eggs that are packaged for retail, then the shipping documents accompanying those eggs moving directly into California would also need to have the egg CA Prop 12 compliant statement on them. And again, there's no product labeling requirement for Prop 12. There is only the requirement for the shipping documents that are accompanying the shipments of shell eggs and liquid eggs. That being said, if a producer or company chooses to put any kind of claim on packaging in regards to compliance with Prop 12 or compliance with being cage-free, then that must be a truthful statement, and that it's truthful and that the eggs are compliant with the Prop 12 requirements. And there I have a link to an additional guidance document on our website regarding the shipping document marking requirement. And also we have another YouTube video, and it's linked on our guidance page to explain the shipping document marking requirement. So I've mentioned this, that egg producers outside of California could potentially operate and then would be certified as a split operation. So again, this would be an egg producer outside of California who's keeping both compliant and non-compliant egg-laying hens. And they are allowed to do this. They just need to have procedures in place to prevent the commingling of compliant and non-compliant egg-laying hens and their eggs. And this will be verified by the certifying agent during the on-site inspection. So when a certifying agent performs an on-site inspection and finds non-compliances where the egg producer is not fully meeting all the requirements of the animal confinement regulations, then most often there's an opportunity for the egg producer to correct those non-compliances. So when that's possible, the certifying agent will issue a written notice of noncompliance. And within this notice of noncompliance, there'll be a description of the noncompliance, the facts upon which the noncompliance is based, and a deadline by which the applicant, in this case the egg producer, would need to correct the noncompliance and submit supporting documentation for how they've made corrections. So that being said, as a new program, we do get a lot of questions about this. And I just want to reiterate, there is an opportunity for producers to correct noncompliances. Most commonly, we see this with the additional record keeping requirements. If a producer has not been maintaining a record that's required in animal confinement regulations, that's a noncompliance, but it's able to be corrected, and that the egg producer would need to demonstrate how, moving forward, they will maintain that required record. So the certification decision of granting certification or renewing certification, that's going to be made by the specific certifying agent that the egg producer is working with. So they'll review everything from the application, from the on-site inspection, any additional information that's been submitted by the applicant, and if the egg producer is fully in compliance with all of the requirements, then they will be granted certification. And it's the certifying agent themselves that issues the certificate of compliance to the egg producer. An egg producer will renew their certification annually with their certifying agent by submitting an application to request renewal of certification to their certifying agent. The certifying agent will then perform an on-site inspection, and when everything is still in compliance with all of the requirements of the animal confinement regulations, then the certifying agent will renew the certification and issue an updated certificate of compliance to the egg producer. If an egg producer is issued a denial of certification, a proposed suspension, or proposed revocation of certification by their certifying agent, then there are appeal options to those adverse determinations. The first is the option of requesting mediation, and the second is the option of requesting a formal appeal. All egg producers have rights to these due process actions, whether the certifying agent who issued the adverse determination is one of the private companies or is CDFA itself. And the process for handling these adverse determinations is further described in animal confinement regulations in the sections listed at the bottom of this slide. Within the animal care program's regulatory framework, I mentioned that there are egg distributors as well, and we often see egg producers who also fall under the definition of being an egg distributor. So I wanted to bring this to your attention. So an egg distributor, this is a person or facility engaged in the business of commercial sales or distribution of shell eggs or liquid eggs as a producer or otherwise to an end user in California. It does not apply to a person or facility that only receives the shell or liquid eggs as an end user. So an example that we see within shell eggs would be producers that sell their own eggs at the farmer's market. They'd be considered an egg producer and an egg distributor, or a producer who sells their processes and then sells their eggs directly to a retail store location. They would also be considered a producer and distributor. So in regarding shell eggs, I just wanted to bring this to all the egg producers' attention. And we have more information on our website for the requirements of a distributor. In short summary, an egg producer will also need to be certified as an egg distributor. This can happen at the same time as when the egg producer is being certified as an egg producer. Then the certifying agent will have another checklist to certify them also as an egg distributor. And all distributors are required to register with the Animal Care Program. And again, there's more information about this on our website under the Distributors tab on our guidance page. So in summary, as of January 1st of 2024, all shell eggs and liquid eggs sold in California are required to be from egg producers that hold a valid certificate of compliance. The process of this certification is with the certifying agent who the egg producer has chosen to work with. Certification does require an on-site inspection, and if any non-compliances are found during the on-site inspection, if applicable, the egg producer will have the opportunity to correct those non-compliances, demonstrate full compliance, and then be certified. This certification for egg producers is renewed annually, and the adverse determinations such as denial of certification, a proposed suspension, or proposed revocation of certification do have appeal processes in place that are available to all egg producers, regardless of if their certifying agent is CDFA or one of the private companies that CDFA has accredited to certify. And also as an egg producer, it's also important to be familiar with the Shell Egg Food Safety Program, the CEFS compliant program, whether or not you need to register to be an egg handler, and also whether or not you fall under the definition of an egg distributor under the animal confinement regulations. So if you have questions, this is our website, and also that is our general animal care email. Feel free to reach out to that email with any additional questions that you might have. This is the Animal Care Program homepage here on CDFA's website under Animal Health Food Safety Services Animal Care. And on this webpage, you can find more information about Prop 12 and the Animal Care Program, including links to the guidance documents presented in this presentation. So over here on the right-hand side, see guidance documents. Click on that. This is where you can find additional information. We also have some reference videos here to explain guidance documents for different types of stakeholders. For you as egg producers, clicking here on the Producers tab, this will open up and show many of the links to the guidance documents I presented here. Egg producers guidance for on-site inspection, guidance for the enclosures, a general guidance for egg producers. So this is where you can find that kind of information in addition to guidance documents that are relevant to all stakeholders and guidance documents for distributors. Then going back to the Animal Care Program homepage, over here on the right, there's a link to our regulations, a link to the Prop 12 law, and scrolling down here on the right, there's the list of registered distributors and also a link to certifying agents. So clicking on the certifying agents link, this will bring you to our page where we list all of the accredited certifying agents. So again, these are the private companies that are accredited to certify operations under Prop 12. And as you look at the different company names, if you click on one, it will open it up more. So you can look at what types of operations that the certifying agent can certify, and also where they perform the certifications within the United States or within the world, and then also their contact information. And so then scrolling down, you can see the full list of accredited certifying agents, and then also us, CDFA, we will also certify operations at the request of an egg producer. And then back here at the home page, again, you can find our contact information, including our phone number and general email, and also links to follow us on social media. Thank you.
Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to follow us on social media and visit our website for future updates.